Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 25th of September and we are going to deal with one very important topic, that is the puzzle of West Asia. The puzzle of West Asia we are going to cover from three subtopics. These three subtopics are the Look West policy of India. We have a Look East policy which was launched in 1991-92. in which we wanted to integrate culturally and economically with Southeast Asia. Now we realize that we are not looking towards the West, whereas West is also very much important for us. By West I mean West Asia. And it is important to us from multiple aspects. Like we have very strong diaspora over there, we are receiving a lot of remittances from West Asia. Our energy imports, most importantly, are from West Asia. We were dependent on that. Then our arms imports also, like Israel is there in West Asia. So in 2005, we launched this Look West policy. What is there in Look West policy? What have been our achievements in the Look West policy? We will try to understand this. Then the Abraham Accords. Abraham Accords was a peace deal signed between the Jewish Israel as well as the Sunni Arab countries UAE and Bahrain. There was a conflict between both of these countries since long. I would say since Israel was formed as a country. Because when Israel was formed, the Jews displaced the Arab Palestinians and formed Israel. That led to discontentment between the other Arab Muslims in the neighboring region, and these all countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Jordan and all, these were those neighboring countries where there was discontentment with respect to Israel, because Israel, formed by the Jews, was formed by displacing the Palestinians who happened to be Arab Muslims. So there was discontentment and USA brokered this deal. And recently, just 2 or 3 days ago, 3 years have been completed to this Abraham Accords. They were signed in the year 2020. So what are Abraham Accords? What are its implications? What is its impact? Is it really helping or not? And what are the other dynamics associated with? What is the India angle with respect to that? We need to understand that. And the third is I2U2. It is actually also called as the Quad 2.0, but yes, it is an informal term. I2U2 stands for Israel, India, 2 I's, UAE and USA, 2 U's. So this actually has brought again 2 West Asian rivals, UAE and Israel, in the same grouping, and India is part of it, USA is part of it. This is also significant in that aspect which is cooling down the conflict in West Asia. So this interesting puzzle of West Asia is there, in which we have to maintain a strategic balance. Are we able to maintain, or what are the challenges we are facing? We'll see in this session. We'll also see other dynamics related to it. So let us understand the Look West policy. The Look West policy launched by the UPA government in 2005. This Look West policy actually aimed at creating a strategic balance in the fragile West Asian region. In West Asia, on one side, we have the Jews, Israel. The other side, we have the Sunnis who are there in UAE, Saudi Arabia. They are at conflict with each other. Then the third node in West Asia is Iran, Shia Muslims. They are also having a conflict with the Sunni countries like UAE, Saudi Arabia and all. And Iran, after 1979, when the Islamic Revolution happened over there, they are not at good terms with Israel. So 3 important nodes in West Asia: Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Sunni countries, and Iran, a Shia country. They are not at good terms with each other. And when this kind of atmosphere is there, or this kind of, I would say, fragility is there, maintaining a strategic balance is in itself is a big task. Look West policy actually aimed to do that. But Look West policy was not so diligently pursued from 2005 till 2014. I cannot say that it was ignored, but yes, it was not, aggressive or too much focused upon. But after 2014, when the Narendra Modi government came into power, there was new vigor in this Look West policy. There was new, I would say, life in this Look West policy, and this era has been described by Mr. S. Jaishankar in one of his speeches, that is after 2014 in our foreign policy, is described as the era of energetic and aggressive engagement. Be energetically engaged as well as aggressively engaged, not only with West Asia, with the entire world, but since we are talking about West Asia now, so with West Asia also we have energetically engaged. Narendra Modi became the first Indian Prime Minister to do a visit in Israel. He has visited Saudi Arabia, UAE and multiple other countries multiple times in West Asia, understanding the importance of that region for us. The importance of that region is with respect to the strong diaspora staying there, strong remittances coming from there, then energy imports the most important, and arms imports from Israel. Apart from it, Iran is actually a crucial partner when it comes to establishing trade routes like international north-south trade corridor to Russia, in encircling Pakistan, because if we have to reach Afghanistan, then also that is via Iran. So understanding the importance of all these, we launched the Look West policy and we intensified the Look West policy post 2014. So let us see in detail what it is. The policy was initiated in 2005 but was not pursued diligently. But since 2014, there have been active engagement. Our present focus in the West Asia, or according to the Look West policy, is actually on these three, I would say, countries or these three regions, the Arab Gulf countries. So I'll draw a triangle. Gulf countries, which are Sunnis. Then the second node is Iran, which is a Shia country. Shia Muslims live here. Then the third node is Israel, where the Jews live. Now, the Sunnis and Shias, they are at conflict with each other because of, I would say, historical reasons or cultural reasons. Sunnis and Jews, they are at conflict with each other because when these Jews, I'll tell something about the Jews. These Jews are one of the most skillful personalities on the planet. Now, when these Jews came to know about the Industrial Revolution happening in Europe in the 18th century, 17th, 18th century, they migrated from this region, which is there in West Asia. A rough map of Israel is like this. They migrated to Europe. But during the 20th century, when there was actually a campaign run by Hitler, Europe for Europeans, and they started persecuting the Jewish minorities over there. They packed them up in chambers and released poisonous gases. They made them stand in lines, do mass killings. Those were called as the Holocaust. Then there was a movement among the Jews in Europe, and that movement was called as Zionism. Zionism was a call for the Jews in Europe to go back or to return to their homeland. And their homeland was this, from where they came, where they had their holy city of Jerusalem. But by this time, the Arab Muslims living over here, they spread themselves, believing the fact that the Jews will never come back. When they came back, they displaced the already scattered Arab Muslims. 1947-48, there was a UN plan which actually formed Israel. Israel all the way had the support of the West, USA and UK. And USA and UK, since they were dominating the United Nations, so in the United Nations a proposal was tabled and it was passed, and actually that formed Israel, which was more than 50% of this area was given to Israel. Less than 50%, around 43% of that area was given to the Arab Muslims. This led to a lot of discontentment among the Arab Muslims, not only over here, this is called as Palestine, where Arab Muslims were, not only over here, but in the neighboring West Asian countries also. Neighboring West Asian countries like Jordan, these UAE, Saudi Arabia and all. So there is an inherent conflict between the Sunnis and the Jews. Those Palestinians are believed to be Sunnis. Iran voted against this UN plan. Then Iran, for a very brief time, that is from 1953 till 1979, where there was a pro-West government in Iran. Since Israel is pro-West, a pro-West government in Iran, Iran was having good ties with Israel. But after 1979, when there was this Islamic revolution over there in Iran, they actually had soured their relations with Israel. The diplomatic ties were cut off, diplomatic relations were zero. Diplomatic recognitions were also withdrawn from Israel from Iran for Israel. So here in this leg also we have a conflict. And these are the three major poles in West Asia. And among all this, we have to create a strategic balance. That strategic balance is very, very necessary, and that is one of the goals of Look West policy. Now let us see, have we been successful in creating this balance or not? We'll be using this triangle, so keep this triangle in your mind. We'll be using this triangle in the future slides also. Now, importance of West Asia, India's energy demand. Actually, a lot of petroleum comes from West Asia. Now Russia is the biggest supplier, but yes, before 2022, majority of our oil was coming from West Asia. Now also, if I say collectively, a substantial amount of oil is coming from West Asia to India. Big source of remittances, because huge chunk of our diaspora is staying there. If I say collectively of all the West Asian countries, it is the highest in those 6-7 countries over there in West Asia. UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar and all. So this is there, 8.5 million diaspora is staying over there. 70% engaged in blue collar jobs. Blue collar jobs means unskilled and semi-skilled jobs. Those people are there on the ground extracting oil. That is unskilled labor. The sheikhs are not doing it. Sheikhs are sitting in their offices, in their homes. So their economy is dependent upon our workforce. So they also would not want to, I would say, sour relations with us. And similarly, our energy imports are dependent upon them. So it is a kind of give and take. Arms and defense. This is particularly with respect to Israel, because a lot of arms are imported from Israel. Israel is among the top 3 suppliers of arms to India. Top 3, 4, it is there. And national security when it comes to Iran, because this is India, this is Pakistan, this is Iran, and this is Afghanistan. Now we do not have direct access to Afghanistan via Pakistan or POK. So we go from Iran, Chabahar port to Afghanistan. And this also gives us an edge, because we, by doing this, encircle Pakistan. That is why national security, Iran is important for us, because we have encircled Pakistan with the help of Iran. Iran is also not having good relations with Pakistan because Sunnis, Shias. So that is actually in our favor. But this route is very long. I would say from Delhi to Kabul, it is somewhere around 900 to 1000 kilometers if we go via Pakistan. But if we take this route, it is somewhere around 4000 kilometers, 4 times the distance. But we cannot do anything else. We don't have any other options. So this is the importance of West Asia for us. Achievements. Now India has achieved a strategic balance in the region. As I told you that one of the, I would say, main objectives of Look West policy was to achieve this strategic balance over there. How we have achieved it? See, first point is Israel-Palestine de-hyphenation. Now let us understand this point, de-hyphenation. This is a hyphen. This dash which you are seeing here is a hyphen. Earlier, our policy with respect to Israel and Palestine was hyphenated. Means we always used to think in this way, Israel, Palestine. Whatever we are doing for Israel, we have to take along Palestine also. We have to do for Palestine also. So it was tied with each other. But in 2018-19, we actually took this bold step, I would say. We dehyphenated it. We made it independent. With Israel only, with Palestine only. We are not clubbing it. This was actually a bold step by India, and it did not backfire because we were earlier speculating that if we dehyphenate Palestine, it may antagonize other Sunni countries like UAE and Saudi Arabia, which are in support of the Palestinians. Because they are in support of the Palestinians, that is why they are at conflict with Israel, right from the very beginning. But this dehyphenation which we did in 2018-19 did not backfire us. Hence, it was an achievement for us. Engagement with all the players in the region despite the differences amongst them. We have engaged with UAE, Saudi Arabia. We've signed a SEPA, that is the highest form of partnership for trade with UAE last year. With Saudi Arabia, we have deep trade ties. Then with Israel, we have deepened, defense ties. Our exports to Israel are increasing year by year. On the other hand, Iran, that also we have signed an agreement for developing the Chabahar port. INSTC passes through Iran, International North-South Trade Corridor, from where China is exporting oil presently to us. Sorry, Russia is exporting oil presently to us. So this strategic balance, despite of the differences between the three nodes in West Asia, we have achieved it. But we should not be of this viewpoint that we have achieved it, so we will now sit idle. It should not be like this. Because we have, countries like China, who is actually the major oil buyer from this country, or from this region, West Asia. And the countries like UAE, Saudi Arabia understand the importance of China. Actually, their economies are running, a major contribution from China is there. And, China will do every possible thing to, I would say, diffuse India's presence over there. So we have to constantly keep working so that this strategic balance remains. Wherever laxity is there, then the strategic balance will go in favor of China and against us. So that has to be done, that has to be understood. OIC, that is Organization for Islamic Cooperation, which is actually dominated by Saudi Arabia, headquartered there only. It is a conglomeration, or I would say a group of around 57 countries. Okay. Out of 57 countries, 49 are Islamic countries. So they further the interest of Islamic countries and all. So kind of cooperation is there. This OIC earlier was very much critical on the Kashmir issue in India, because they were sympathetic with the Indian Muslims. But there was a remarkable thing to note that when we abrogated Article 370 in 2019, OIC did not criticize India. It was actually the result of deep engagement or energetic engagement by the Indian government prior to 2019 with these countries. That is why we did not face any criticism from OIC. Else, I would say OIC was one of the biggest critique of India on Kashmir. Prior to 2015-16, we could see OIC very much vocal about the Kashmir issue, bilaterally on multilateral forums also. So this is also one of our achievements over there. So we can say that achievements are there. We've been largely able to create strategic balance. But yes, we have to keep working on it because China has also entered the game. Now again we need to understand here only, we'll understand with this triangle. Here was UAE, Saudi Arabia, the two major Sunni countries. Here was, I would say, Iran. Here is Israel. Now Israel being supported by USA. USA actually brokered a deal between this Israel and UAE, which are called as the Abraham Accords. Which is going to be our next topic, that happened in 2020. So USA brokered, a peace deal between UAE and Israel. This leg of the conflict was nullified. You might be wondering, sir, Saudi Arabia, wasn't Saudi Arabia part of it? No, Saudi Arabia per se was not part of it. Saudi Arabia was supporting it from outside and was a mute spectator, I would say largely. But as such, Saudi Arabia did not vocally oppose these accords. So USA actually helped to ease tensions on this particular leg of the triangle by brokering a peace deal between UAE and Israel. Abraham Accords were these. Then in 2021, another grouping called as I2U2 was formed. UAE, USA already there from Abraham Accords. Israel and India was also brought into this leg now. India also became a contributor in, bringing these two countries together via I2U2. So this leg of the conflict, peace deal brokered by USA. Now China, the second biggest economy, and USA now considers China as its rival. Why would China be silent? So this year, 2023, China entered the picture and brokered a peace deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran. So China's presence in these two countries increased a lot. Iran is not having good connections with USA presently. That is a challenge. And India is now facing challenges, a bit of challenges in Iran, and can face challenges in Saudi Arabia also because of China's presence. That is why I am saying that achievements are there, but we should not be complacent with these achievements. We need to do the similar thing here also. We need to give them, Saudi Arabia, Iran, the confidence that India is with you also. Actually, the tag of Vishwamitra has to be justified here. Now, if India is able to create this stability over here among these two, then, I would say that actually we have, been able to justify our, I would say, achievements over there. And we should be, doing consistent efforts to maintain it over there. So understanding this triangle with respect to West Asia is very, very important for you aspirants. And, this particular leg, China brokering a peace deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia, I will be covering in tomorrow's video. Purposely I am not covering today because we have 3 topics already there. But yes, in tomorrow's video I will be covering this. Then you will get a holistic picture about West Asia, what is happening. And yes, a question definitely is expected from here. Abraham Accords signed in 2020. Signed between, the UAE and Bahrain on one side, and on the other side we had Israel. Israel a Jewish country, Bahrain and UAE, Sunni Muslims. So that leg of conflict was actually cooled down with the mediation of USA. Israel has always been a close ally of USA, and USA's presence in these West Asian countries, UAE, Saudi Arabia, has also been there. So USA would want that region, West Asia, to be, I would say calm, composed and with less conflicts, because already a lot of divisions are there. And for that purpose, Abraham Accords were signed in 2020. These Abraham Accords actually had a far-reaching impact on that region. Donald Trump's one of the biggest diplomatic victory was this. There is now increased trade, increased people-to-people contacts, increased security cooperation among Israel and these Sunni countries. Saudi Arabia largely is silent on this, but as per many reports, Saudi Arabia was an outside supporter of these Abraham Accords. You might be wondering what has happened to Palestinians now. Israel-Palestine conflict was there, and these Sunni countries were supporting the Palestinians' cause. Now these Sunni countries are having this Abraham Accords, means they have established diplomatic relations with each other. What has happened to the Palestinians? Has their cause been, silenced? Actually, no, it was not talked about in this Accords, but yes, there is inherent support from these Sunni countries for the Palestinians. But yes, in Abraham Accords, we did not talk about them. So let us look into it, what Abraham Accords are. Signed in 2020, it was an agreement between UAE, Bahrain and Israel, mediated by the USA. Objective was to normalize ties between these Arab Gulf states and Israel. And we know why the ties were not normal. Because of that conflict since when Israel has been formed. And two Arab-Israel wars were there, in which Israel decisively won those wars. The Abraham Accords per se was signed between UAE, Bahrain and Israel. But after that, after these Abraham Accords, 5 more Arab states, that is Egypt, Jordan, UAE, Morocco and Sudan, have established diplomatic ties with Israel. So these Abraham Accords had a ripple effect. Means ripple effect in positive sense. Other Sunni countries or other Arab countries also joined the race in recognizing Israel as a country and establishing diplomatic ties with them. Now, significance, this accord clearly marks a new beginning in the relations between the Sunni-ruled Gulf kingdoms and the Jewish state of Israel. Under the agreement, UAE and Bahrain would normalize ties with Israel. Normalize ties means establish diplomatic relations with Israel, because diplomatic ties were not there. They recognized Israel as a country. Earlier recognition was not there. So all this happened with Abraham Accords. This will herald better economic, political and security engagement in that region. The Palestinian angle, if I say. Per se, nothing about Palestine was talked about in these Abraham Accords. Some experts say that they were ignored. Some experts say that these Sunni countries, by signing these Abraham Accords, they have actually left their own ground. Their own ground where they earlier pledged an all-out support or all-round support to the cause of Palestinians. But by establishing diplomatic ties with Israel, they are not there. But let's see what is there. The agreements leave the Palestinians' questions largely unaddressed. Arab countries are signing diplomatic agreements with Israel bilaterally. Due to this, the Arab collective support for the Palestinian movement or nationhood is crumbling. The vacuum here, because these Sunni countries, they have established diplomatic ties with Israel. Now this can be interpreted in such a way by the Palestinians that these people have lost, or we have lost support of these people. Now these people are not with us. And there is a vacuum over there. And to fill that vacuum, other countries have come. The vacuum left by the retreat of Arab powers from the Israel-Palestine conflict being filled by the non-Arab Muslim powers. Who are these non-Arab Muslim powers? Iran, Turkey and their allies. Iran, Shia Muslim, already in conflict with these Sunnis. They have gone to the Palestinians. We will support you, don't worry. They do not have good ties with Israel. The Iranians. That angle will also be solved. They do not have good ties with the Sunnis. That also will be solved. So dushman ka dushman, dost. It is like this. The geopolitical sands may be shifting. This signing of the agreement is the geopolitics shifting. But the core issue concerning Israel is unresolved. The core issue is Israel-Palestinian conflict. That is unresolved. That has to be resolved. So this is the impact of the accords. We need to understand this. The diplomatic ties between these Arab countries and Israel have been established. Diplomatic relations are there, which has led to multiple other forms of relations like economic ties, security ties. So this normalizing of the diplomatic ties of Israel with UAE and two other countries in the region, marking the important shift in the stance of West Asian countries. Now when I talk about security, normalization has opened new opportunities for defense and security cooperation. So especially among Israel, Bahrain and the UAE, because see, Israel is a major defense equipment manufacturer. The kind of technology Israel owns actually is very, very critical and state of the art. Many developed countries of the world might also not have that kind of technology, which the Israelis have. Remember, they are one of the most skillful people on earth. So they do this. People to people connect. So there is increase of tourism. People have started growing from Israel to these Gulf countries, from these Gulf countries to Israel, which earlier was not there because diplomatic relations were not there. So this people to people connect, increased flow of tourism and all is there. So this is benefiting the entire society. Trade. Actually 74% trade has increased between these West Asian countries and Israel. This is again a remarkable achievement, I would say. Then when I talk about tourism, number of visits from Israel to the UAE and Bahrain has increased largely. Collaborative projects, the Prosperity Green and Blue Agreement, it is largely called as the Prosperity Agreement, in which they are talking about green development and blue development. Means here majorly it is being talked about desalinization plants. It is a technology by which you take the saline water of the seas, remove the salt from it and make that water as fresh water. Now Israel also has that technology. But here in this prosperity, green and blue development, we are talking largely about sustainable development, green development and blue economy development or blue development. Blue development is specifically we are talking about desalinization technology. So this is there. A solar field in Jordan to supply 600 megawatts of electricity to Israel in return for water from Israel. Programs for youth delegations between the two nations have been initiated, encouraging bonds between tomorrow's leaders are there. Educational collaboration, shared educational activities and advanced student and professor exchange programs were started. And coexistence and religious tolerance, these were being talked about more. UAE has incorporated Holocaust education into its school curriculum as a mandatory subject. Holocaust, which was being done by the Europeans, that is, Hitler was doing it, which actually impacted the Jews. So this kind of integration has been done, and that was done by USA through the Abraham Accords. The India angle, how has India been impacted with the Abraham Accords? Now, improved connectivity, greater convenience of direct flights between UAE and Israel as well as between Israel and Bahrain. Indian students, they are enjoying increased ease of travel, gaining improved access to Israeli universities and the opportunity to explore international study programs. Trade, the normalization has increased the flow of economic opportunities reaching India. Companies from UAE, Israel, Bahrain and the US are partnering with the Indian private sector. Then promoted the I2U2 group. This is going to be a third topic, but yes, I2U2, India, Israel, USA and UAE. India also brought into that angle because UAE, Israel and USA were there in the Abraham Accords. India was also added and this grouping was called as I2U2. So this has enabled actually investment coming into India. $2 billion investment was pledged during the first I2U2 summit into India, and that went into Jammu and Kashmir largely. So this is it. I2U2, Israel, India, USA and UAE. These are the 4 countries in I2U2. It was conceptualized in 2021 and these 4 countries agreed to collaborate or integrate on various issues. Like investment flows will be there on water, energy, transportation, space, health. Now very recently in this 2023 UNGA meeting, which is ongoing right now, yesterday only, that is 24th of September, these I2U2 countries decided to collaborate on space. Everyone is actually acknowledging India's Chandrayaan-3 mission's success. So this has also become one important aspect of integration with these countries. Obviously we have USA who has a more robust space program than us, but yes, we are also not behind. So this was what I2U2 was formed for, and I2U2 since its conception, there was this ministerial meeting last year and $2 billion investment was pledged in India, majority of which was invested or is being invested in the Jammu and Kashmir region. So let us look into it. What is it? It was conceptualized in 2021 by the foreign ministers of 4 countries. It is also having a Sherpa level interaction. Sherpa is basically a personal representative of the head of the state or head of the government. I2U2 is aimed to encourage joint investments in 6 mutually identified areas: water, energy, transportation, space, health and food security. It intends to mobilize private sector capital also, not only government. Private sector capital will also be mobilized in these domains. Low carbon development pathways for industries will be set up, improve public health, promote the development of critical emerging and green technologies. These are things which actually have to be done today, in today's time. Now, outcome of the first I2U2 meeting, it was that UAE will invest $2 billion to develop a series of integrated food parks across India, incorporating state-of-the-art climate-smart technologies to reduce food wastage, conserve fresh water and employ renewable energy sources. Majority of this investment is going in the Jammu and Kashmir region. This was an achievement for us. Cooperation in space, as I told you, in the ongoing United Nations General Assembly annual session, our foreign minister is there and there was a meeting of the foreign ministers of these 4 countries, I2U2, where the space cooperation was discussed and all 4 have agreed that they will be collaborating on the space sector. So this actually has been the achievement for India in West Asia. I2U2 creating a strategic balance. West Asia is important for India from multiple fronts which we've seen. Yes, involvement of China is there, which is actually a bit of, challenging for India, but yes, India with its own way of engaging with these countries is trying to maintain that strategic balance, and till now it has been successful. The efforts of India from now on will definitely decide what way India will go with West Asia or vice versa. So in the next video, I will be coming up with that China angle also. That is, China brokered a peace deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia. These 2 countries which were left out from the Abraham Accords, these 2 countries which are not part of I2U2 also. So what impact probably this peace deal would have on India. So this is it from today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow with this one topic and probably other important topics also which are in news. So signing off for today. Till then, you guys keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising. Jai Hind.